guys are such an intriguing guy, but what does he bring in starts?
Well, he's so athletic and fast that inevitably it seems like we get a couple of big plays early. It might be a blocked shot like the other night on Saturansky that led to a dunk, or maybe it's a putback dunk or him catching a lob. And so that kind of energy and athleticism early, I think, has helped us get off to better starts. But it's really our overall team focus since the break that has improved. And I'm just happy that our guys are really dialing it in.
Coach, what do you think about the Atlanta Hawks? I know our new GM, Travis, actually came from Golden State. So what do you think of the transition that they're going through in his first year?
Well, Travis has a tough job ahead of him, obviously, having to rebuild. And this team has been very successful over the last decade. But it was just time. It was time to start fresh, and he knew that, and he's taking on the challenge. And it's not an easy process to go through, but you have to draft well, and you've got to sign the right free agents and manage your cap, and those are all things Travis has helped with in Golden State. And one of the reasons that we're in the position we are now is because he went through that process with Bob Myers and played a big role in it.
Coach, if you're in this road trip, what are some things that you learned on and off the court about your guys, in the second half of the season?
I don't know that I've learned anything new because we've been together for years now, and I'm very confident in our group. And I think that the main thing right now is that we're just picking up the pace a little bit. We're heading into the final 20 games of the year, and our guys sense that, and I think they're playing with better energy from the beginning of the game.
Coach, in these final 20 games, how important will it be to get first in the West, home court advantage?
I'm not focused on it. I'm focused on our team and our play, and if we can shore up the things that I think we've been lacking on, then I think we're going to continue to get better and hopefully stay healthy and roll into the playoffs in a good way, whether we're the 1 seed or the 2 seed.
Steve, obviously a last been made of Andre's shooting woes this season, but do you think the fact that he doesn't worry too much about his offense is part of what makes him special?
Yeah, I don't worry too much about it. I think everybody else wants to focus on it, but Andre does so much for us. He's our point forward. He gets us organized. He always has one of the best assist-to-turnover ratios in the league. He's brilliant defensively. Biggest thing with Andre is that he's really healthy right now, and he's feeling good. He's bouncy, got a lot of energy. What's happened in the first 62 games means nothing. The only thing that matters for a guy in Andre's shoes at this stage of his career is peaking at the right time, feeling good, feeling healthy, and I think all of those things are really positive right now.
As much as anyone you've been around as a player, does he have an awareness of what he needs physically at what times? And how to be in tune at the right time?
Yeah, he's a very smart veteran player. We got a lot of guys like that: Sean Livingston, David West, Zaza. They're all wise because of their experience in the league and their understanding of the marathon that the NBA season is, and the importance of taking care of your body, eating right, knowing what day to lift, what day to take off completely, what day to get extra shots. And it's a hard thing to figure out as a young player, but when you've been in the league for a while, you get the feel for it, and you get the sense for your own body and what you need. And Andre is on top of all those things.
Steve, obviously.
I haven't watched them a lot, to be honest with you. They're in the East, and so we don't see them. So I've watched some tape just to prepare for this game. Schroder is a really tough point guard. He's quick. He's hard to contain. Collins is a really nice young player. They're obviously going to be building through the draft and trying to develop players. Dedmon has had a nice year. And they're always well coached. I know Mike from my days playing for him in San Antonio, and they run really innovative stuff, and they move the ball. So it's a young team that's building a foundation, and it'll be fun tonight to go up against them.
What's your relationship with Travis? Is he the right guy for Atlanta, and how confident he can turn Atlanta around?
I think Travis is the right guy. He's been a little bit of everything in this league. He was an assistant coach in Miami. He's worn a lot of hats, so he understands the league from a lot of different levels. And he was in Golden State when the Warriors weren't very good, so he helped the whole process through the draft, through free agency, building the team, getting the cap right. So he knows how this works. There's a lot of luck involved in this business, but you also have to make some of your own luck. And I think Travis will be very good in terms of putting the team in position to succeed. And then, you sort of play it out and see what happens.
Sorry, how often do you feel like with the success you guys have had that occasionally do you have to rein things in, or how do you go about doing that, whether it's passing or something that just looks like a daisy to you in terms of
It's mainly just focusing on where we can get better, things we need to shore up. Didn't need to do as much of that the first couple of years of this run, because I think there was a general level of excitement every single night. And now that we're in year 4, at least in trying to get back to the finals, I think this year there's been a little bit more sort of lethargy that creeps in occasionally, where we're either not boxing out or not rotating to a shooter. And so my job is really to point that stuff out and try to keep the guys on track to make sure we're staying solid with our fundamentals.
How difficult is it with Draymond being so passionate and playing with fire? Now the referees are calling questionable technical fouls. How difficult is it to manage him?
It's actually not difficult at all, because I want that fire. I want that competitiveness. We'd really have a problem if he wasn't competitive and he didn't yell at the refs. We need that. And so I don't mind him getting technicals. He seems to play at his best when he's emotional. And I always trust him to know where to draw the line. And I think he does a pretty good job of that. And he's proven that. He's been an all-star Defensive Player of the Year. We've won championships. Draymond just needs to be Draymond.
Have you looked at the last 20 games?
Not really. I mean, a little bit, but I don't map it out or anything like that.
It breaks pretty well. I remember last year you had a ton at home late in the year, but then you're facing playoff teams. I think this is your last. I think you played Pacers.
Yeah, Pacers, just a one-gamer, right?
Yeah.
Was that our last East Coast?
Yeah, that's your
road
last
trip?
East Coast. So, I mean, how much do you like that lead up to the playoffs? It seems pretty cushy.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not locked in on it at all. I'm just focused on what we need to do better as a team, and those are easy to see on tape. Boxing out, I mentioned the other night, and trying to win the possession battle, taking care of the ball. Those are the things I'm locked in on, and the schedule always kind of takes care of itself. There are fewer bunches of games like last year where you kind of had to look and go, oh man, we got to get through that stretch, and once we do, we'll be okay. This year, it just seems like everything is just sort of laid out. Game day off, get your rest, get some practice in. But I don't pay too close attention to who we're playing.
So Jordan's obviously young, but what sort of things did you notice him doing when he was out? Like once he was able to do things that kind of helped him, overcome the rustiness once he actually played?
Well, he was just working. He was just getting the court work in that he needed, and he's doing his work with the training staff. And then he started getting some basketball court work in, and so thank you. It's all just basic stuff. Same thing everybody does when they're out.
Yeah. How about the idea of when he was able to watch the game from a different vantage point on the bench?
I would ask him. If he saw anything different or if he learned anything from that. I know our veteran guys talk to him a lot, Draymond and David West, and they try to lead him through stuff. I think that can be helpful, but there's nothing like playing. You got to be out on the floor, and you could see that right now. He's a little rusty and needs to get his timing and his rhythm.
Coach, this is Kevin Durant's first time actually coming to Atlanta in a Warriors uniform. He was hurt when you guys made the trip last year. Can you talk to me about the defensive changes you've seen in Durant this year? Is that something that he's took upon himself, or has that been coaching from you guys on the staff?
That's just Kevin. I mean, he's one of the best two-way players in the league. He's obviously an amazing scorer, but defensively he does so much for us with his length and his shot blocking and his ability to guard the ball. He can guard all 5 positions now, the way the game is played, and so he's a huge part of our defense.
Coach, March kicks off Women's History Month. Can you share with us some women that have inspired you, or either around the league, personally, or in the WNBA?
Doris Burke. I was in broadcasting for 8 years, and I've gotten to know Doris pretty well over the last few years as a coach because she's doing a lot of our games. And she has been incredibly inspiring because she's taken on a man's world and conquered it. She's one of the very best analysts that we have in the NBA. And think about the odds of that happening as a woman. It's an incredible feat, and she is such an inspiring, just conscientious, thoughtful human being who knows the game, who loves the game, but is very modest and humble. I'm a big fan of Doris. Drake and I both.
When you took this job, whether it's Steph's range or the fact that the team plays with so much of a flair, some I think they've added since you came on, are there things that when you look at film that you were saying that you don't feel like you have to rein in too much, but what sorts of things are there things as a coach that you look at first you would maybe think to kind of tweak as a coach, but because it's this team and because they've been so successful, you're loving it?
Yeah, when I first got here, I thought Steph was crazy with his shot selection. And every instinct I had was, what are you doing? Like, let's, because the whole point in basketball is to get a great shot.
Right.
He was taking these shots that were not great shots for anybody else on earth. But I quickly realized they were actually great shots for him and for us. He'd shoot this fadeaway 28-footer off the dribble. Like, in your mind, you're going, what is that, about a 10% shot? And then you look at the stats and you're like, oh, wait, that's a 40% shot for Steph Curry. And it brings the house down and our bench is going crazy. So I had to learn to accept the fact that what is a horrible shot for somebody else is actually a good shot for Steph and for us. And I had to pull back a little bit.
Does the passing stuff work that way too? You've got so many guys you're mentioning, Dre and kind of the assist to turnover. They obviously go behind their back a lot. They throw a lot of alley-oops and sometimes don't always pan out. Is that the sort of thing that just works out often enough to where you don't have to really say anything?
No, that's the one that I have to stay on the guys about. I talk about hitting singles all the time instead of home runs, and we lead the league in assist to turnover ratio. But it's a confusing stat because we're also like 27th in turnovers. But we just get so many assists because of our pace and the guys passing the ball and sharing it so well. So I don't mind the turnovers that are maybe trying to make the extra pass or something. But it's the ones that are out of motion and that don't stand much of a chance to get through that bother me. Because if we just keep hitting singles on this team, we got so many playmakers and shooters that it's all going to come out in the wash, pretty positive light.